So hello you guys and welcome back to my channel. It's been a bit since we last proper sat down and caught up. First of all, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the love on my last two videos. In case you missed them, they were the vlogs that I posted from when I was in LA. It was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. It's crazy to think it's almost a month ago already. Time is just it's a blur. I was gonna say it's a blur these days, but it has been for years. So The Walking Dead is coming to an end. We have like 8 episodes left, I think. In the upcoming months or weeks, Tales of The Walking Dead is going to be starting. I don't think The Walking Dead actually has an air date yet for its final episodes. So that'll probably be announced maybe at San Diego Comic-Con. Can't wait for that. Can't wait for the trailer. Oh my god, I'm just like, give me anything. Give me crumbs of an anything, please. But it's been a while since we saw the last few episodes of the season. We've had time to really go back, rewatch, dissect, whatever. I've been watching some really fun dissection videos. That sounds fucking demented. Some review videos and some chat videos on this season. And the thing about reactions is you don't really get a whole lot of time to talk in them, even though all I ever seem to do is talk, as the comments so kindly remind me from time to time. I'm going back to the seasons, like it's no secret that there has been mishaps, there has been fuck-ups. But I don't really talk about that usually because I feel like when it comes to any kind of thing, right? So like a show, or a band, or a movie, or a franchise, it always feels like the negative outweighs the good. You know, the loudest motherfuckers are always the ones with their negative takes and their hot takes, and I kind of steer away from that usually. But I've never done a video like this, so I thought, fuck. If ever there was a time, it was just before the show ends. So in this video, I'm going to be going through all of the things that I would have done differently in The Walking Dead. The show, not the comics. I'm just going to preface? I'm just going to start by saying that I am not a showrunner, scriptwriter, actor, director, nothing. Am I in any way qualified to talk about this? Fuck no. I'm going to try and handle it as daintily as I can because I don't know. I like when it comes to things like this, the people behind it are real people. You know, the showrunners. I will not be upstaged by my goldfish. Boys, you're going to have to calm down. They're going berserk inside the tank. They're being very noisy. Like tiny little dolphins jumping up and down out of the water. The people behind these productions are people. You know, it's the craft is their work, it's their life. So I always do try to handle it kind of delicately, which is why I do tend to steer away from these kind of things. Anyway, that's enough rambling. Let's just start. But before I start, the link to my Patreon is down below, where I do a whole bunch of different reactions. When The Walking Dead or Fear the Walking Dead or any Walking Dead universe show is on air, I post a more extended cut of the reactions for them over there. I also do 2 uploads a day, so at the moment there's ongoing shows like... it's gonna be a mouthful. Cobra Kai, American Horror Story, The X-Files, Doctor Who, Riverdale, Star Trek, Bridgerton, Jessica Jones, Stranger Things, Buffy, Gotham, and more recently I started reactions to Obi-Wan and Miss Marvel, on top of like live streams and stuff. So the link to we're going through a heat wave, okay? I'm struggling, my brain's overheating. On a good day my brain overheats, on a summer day my brain melts. The link to that is down in the description below if you're interested in hanging out and watching other reactions outside the Walking Dead universe. Let's go. I'm so serious about this video that I actually made a list, which is something I don't usually do for videos because I just wing it, but I just know that my thoughts are going to be so everywhere that I can't wing this one. Okay, so the first thing I have on this list is something I've changed about the show is the Maggie and Negan thing. Listen, right. The Negan lineup, I have always said it, and I still get shit for it, but I'm like, I don't care. The Negan lineup is still one of my favourite moments in Walking Dead history. The tension, the build-up, the hype over the summer between the season finale and season premiere when no one knew who got Lucille. No one knew what was happening. Lads, it was on another level. The excitement was just fucking... it was crazy. And I don't ever remember being as passionate about anything regarding to like media, like shows and stuff, as I was that summer. I cared so deeply about where the show was going and what was going to happen. My god. Negan killing Glenn, dramatic as fuck. Killing Abe, dramatic as fuck. We will circle back around to that. But the Maggie and Negan situation, it's like he killed her husband. She ain't never going to forgive him. She's never going to warm to him or like him. You would think. And it's kind of hard to differentiate and separate the fact that like it's a show, it's make-believe. Characters can go off on weird-ass tangents that regular everyday people in real life probably wouldn't go on. I do get that you need an element of drama and the theatrics to keep the show buzzing, But like realistically, I feel like she would have killed him by now, or vice versa. I do like the tension that it causes, or I did for a while. I feel like their chemistry was really something. Every time they were on screen, you just knew it was going to be spicy. You know, you knew it was going to be interesting. I did like that, but they've been constantly back and forth with the two of them. Like you had Negan leave her in the train cart, and it was like, oh my god, is she gonna die? Like what the fuck? And then she doesn't die, and then she comes back, and it's like, ooh, it's gonna be awkward. Which it was for a while, but then I feel like it just you just moved on, and it was just like not a thing anymore. It's like we're just gonna forget that he kind of left her there to die. I mean, by not saving her, he was doing something. He didn't technically like kick her into the head and leave her to die with the walkers, you know, but still. There's been like instances throughout, there's been speeches given throughout. I loved the speech Negan gave, or Maggie gave to Negan in that cell, where she was like, you know, I came here to kill Negan, but you're already dead, or you're as good as dead, whatever the line was. That was so fucking dramatic and impactful. But they've just been bringing that storyline, chugging along, and I'm like, either make them fucking hate each other and want to kill each other, or make them just make friends, even though that would never make sense in my head, still. And then you have the announcement of the new show. It's like, so Maggie and Negan are going off to, I think it's New York this show is set in, which I'm excited for a change of scenery. But like, I'm like, why the two of them specifically? I can't make that make sense. I love Negan as a character. Love Maggie as a character. Them in their own little show. I mean, I'm sure it'll work. I'm sure it'll be different. It'll be, you know, dramatic or whatever. But I'm like, I can't really get my brain there. And then like with the Negan thing and the redemption arc, lots of people had a problem with that. I can completely understand why. I like a redemption arc. I like seeing a character claw their way from the fucking bottom of the barrel of the morality bucket and try and like better themselves. Negan is somebody who I'm not sure he could ever really be redeemed, to be honest. But like he can definitely try, and we've seen that with him. We've seen him come leaps and bounds. He is a different character to who he was when he was first introduced. Although we do see aspects of that like original personality bleed through, which every time I'm just like, I love it. But yeah, I wish they'd just make a decision on those two characters. What direction are they taking? The next thing I would change, and I think this is kind of like universally agreed on, is Coral dying. In hindsight, you can see why, you know, from a writer's point of view, kill off one of the main characters, Rick's kid, that's going to make Rick go off the rails. And, you know, the effect it had on both Rick and Michonne, and then the effect it later had on Rick's decision with how to deal with Negan. I can get that. And, like, you know, he saved Sadiq, so, like, I can get that. Sometimes a death can set up future storylines. As much as I fucking hate it, I hate a character having to literally die in order to further someone else. It sucks. It does. But that's just how story writing goes sometimes. I get it. But then you just have... Sadiq just dies anyway, so what was it for? There was so much potential in Coral. My god, could you imagine if he had lived, and then once Rick left, which again we will circle back to later, once he left, Coral could have taken over the group. The possibilities, lads. I think he was too young in his both age and storyline. There was still more to tell with him. It was just annihilating potential, in my opinion. Swiveling back to Negan, I told you this video would be all over the place. Swiveling back to Negan, the Negan lineup. It is my favourite moment in Walking Dead history. It is. Oh my god, to this day I get chills when I watch it. But I am a firm Abe lover. Okay, I love him, thought he was a great character. They shouldn't have had two victims. At the time it was like, oh my god, the shock, there's a second one. But he always gets forgotten. He always gets overlooked whenever anybody brings up Negan, or like an anti-Negan argument where they're saying that they hate Negan, he killed Glenn, ruined Maggie's life, whatever. I'm like, yeah, Abraham was there too. It took away from the impact of his death completely, and it was just a clusterfuck of emotions in that episode. And I feel like Abe, if they were gonna kill him, should have gotten his chance to shine an episode or two later and get his own big ass, you kick you in the crotch of your feelings death. Even though I still do like the fact there was two victims. I don't know. No, I do know. Do I? Yes. Justice for Abe. Next on my list, for some reason, is extended episodes. Do you guys remember the era where there was a whole bunch of extended episodes? Was it season 8 or season 9? Where the episodes were like between 45 and 55 minutes, I think. There was like a string of extended episodes in and about. I am not a fan of anything extended, to be honest. I have the shortest attention span known to man. That's a me problem, I'm aware. So I'm just like, I think the 40 minutes is perfect to tell a story. That point was just so not even worth including. Yeah, Ezekiel, my guy. Oh my god. He, probably one of my favourite characters. Absolutely adore him. He just shines every time he's on screen. Carrie Payton has a smile of a god. I do wish that they had kept up his facade just a little bit longer though when he was introduced to the show. It felt like he came in with this larger than life attitude and then it was just instantly explained. And it's like, I would have liked a few episodes or a few episodes more to just be a bit confused, be on board with the weirdness. Now obviously him coming clean and saying, listen, this is on an act. I am just a fucking guy with a tiger. That's still weird in itself, but it's a lot less weird than the character I'm portraying. I feel like he kind of had to explain that in order to, you know, the relationship with Carol, in order to make her see like, you know, don't bullshit or all that kind of stuff. But I would have liked there to have just been a little bit more teasing that out. Staying on Ezekiel, him and Carol splitting up, broke my fucking heart. I can see why it makes sense, but at the same time I really can't. I know, well, I don't know. I don't. But I imagine losing a child is one of the most difficult things you could possibly ever have to live through. It just, I can't imagine that kind of pain. So, you know, him and Carol splitting up made sense, technically. But I feel like the two of them are the type of people and the type of characters who would have clung to each other desperately. And, you know, I don't think they should have split up. I think they should have kept them together a little bit longer. I am a big fan of when a relationship has run its course, just let it fucking die in TV shows. You know, stop milking it if it doesn't need to be, but they are not that. Michonne leaving her kids is another thing I've been so vocal about. Her going off to find Rick, it makes complete sense. She absolutely loves him. You lose the love of your life. You live your whole fucking life raising your kids, trying to keep everything in order, trying to keep the communities going. I can't imagine what the fuck Michonne went through. And then finding out, hang on though, he might still be alive. I understand the want to absolutely jump. And I can see like the moral dilemma of, I want to go, but bringing my kids with me doesn't really make sense because it's dangerous. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm going into. Bringing my kids into that unknown doesn't make sense. But then leaving both your kids when they're both so young behind, I'm like, I don't think Michonne would have done that. I don't know her. I didn't like, you know, walk around in her character the way Denai has. So I guess I'll never understand it on that level. But I don't think she would have left her kids. I don't think she would have put that kind of responsibility on Judith, being the older sibling that Judith is. I don't think Michonne would have like been able to rationalise leaving her kids in her own head. Even though obviously they're safe, they have people all around them, you know, it's still. We're going back a few seasons now. Oh my god. These notes are just fucking vicious, let me tell you. Oh my god. I wrote these notes like last night and this morning. I must have been in a salty fucking mood. I'm gonna have to reword some of these. For sure. My next point on the list is just stop spoiling the show, for fuck's sake. And honestly, I agree with past me. I hate spoilers. I fucking hate them. I stay away from them. No. I'm not the kind of person that likes to go into something knowing what I'm going to get. I barely even watch trailers. But with the past few seasons, we have had almost every big moment spoiled for us by the official accounts. It's not like, you know, fans put out spoiler warnings. Did I get up when my alarm went off a minute ago? I didn't. Oh fuck, my dinner's on. That's what that alarm was for. I'm back. Right, where were we? Spoilers. Hang on, I gotta catch my breath. I just ran up the stairs really quick. That's the most movement I've had all day. So they've done it with like really big pivotal moments where they will just announce it ahead of time. Now, that being said, I can understand why they announced Rick leaving. I don't agree with it. I think they should have maybe left that to just smack you in the face when you, upon first viewing, when you first watch it and you're like, what? That being said, if they hadn't announced that he was leaving ahead of time and you watched that episode, you would have thought, okay, so he's fucking off in a helicopter. We're going to see where this helicopter's going next episode. We're going to find out what's happening. And then you'd spend the next few episodes being like, alright, but where the fuck is Rick? That's where the party's at. I want to see where he went. So I can understand why they announced, like, no, this is it for him. This is it. He ain't coming back. He's leaving the show. To prepare viewers and to get people ready, because it's a huge loss too. As like a viewer and someone who adores the show, clearly. I can see why they would have to like brace people. But then, like, you know, they announce almost everything these days. I'm going to be careful. But, like, I know something else was announced regarding somebody who's going to be making an appearance in one of the upcoming episodes. They announced when Michonne was leaving. They announced stuff all the time. And I'm like, lads, Stop spoiling your own show. And something similar kind of goes with like the spin-offs and the Rick movies. I have abandoned all hope of them. I understand wanting to keep audiences interested and wanting to get people excited and being like, okay, you know, we're ending this show, but don't worry, we still have other shows. We have these spin-offs in the works. I feel like they jumped the gun on some of their projects. Like the Rick movies, when they announced them, it might have seemed like a good idea at the time to announce them, but it's been like 3 or 4 years now and there's still no update. There's no movies in sight. There ain't fuck all on the horizon but dead dreams. So I'm like, okay, well maybe something happened with them in particular. Okay, you can't predict the future. Maybe when they announced it, they had stuff set in stone that just fell through. But then you have things like the Daryl and Carol show and all the drama surrounding that. It's like, they should just stop announcing shit until they are literally ready to start editing the stuff they already have. If they want to be like, oh, we have a bunch of untitled Walking Dead universe projects coming up, get excited guys, it would have the same impact. Instead of putting a name to something and being like, no, you guys are going to get this, and then you don't deliver the content. It's like, stop announcing stuff. They're like a company of the worst secret keepers ever. Maybe that's just my personality though. I am somebody who I don't speak until I am 1,000,000,000% certain. Like all those interviews I did with the cast in the past, like I've interviewed cast members on my channel before. I didn't tell a fucking soul outside of my household because I had to warn people like, guys, I'm going to be interviewing, insert name here. Please, shh, stay quiet. Do not come into my room. So I had to warn them, give them the heads up. But like, I didn't tell anyone because I'm afraid of plans falling through. I'm afraid of shit not working. And then you're left having to give that awkward, it didn't work out talk. Maybe that's just a me problem. But I do think they should calm down on announcing stuff and releasing stuff before time. Fear is queen of that. Holy Christ on a bicycle cycling backwards down a very steep hill. Fear just gives it all to you. They just tell you what's going to happen. They're like, hey guys, guess what's happening in this week's episode. I can't even look. I'm pretty sure I have their Twitter account muted for that exact reason. The official Twitter account. I mean, they spoiled, if you're not up to date with Fear, skip ahead like 15 seconds. They spoiled Madison's returning. They just fucking announced it. I'm like, lads, that would have been massive to just throw on a viewer. But they told everyone about it ahead of time. I'm like, alright. Another problem I have with Fear, just very briefly, because this is a Walking Dead video, is the whole introducing characters and then killing them off instantly. Fear, over the last 2 or 3 seasons, Fear have introduced stellar characters that I have really enjoyed watching. And as soon as you start enjoying them, the suspicion creeps in of, hang on, they're not making it to the end of this episode, are they? And they fucking don't. That's the problem I have with Fear, though. That's for another day. Getting back to some of the storyline things or characters I wasn't that into. I was never particularly into Andrea's character. I had a very love-hate relationship with her. I hated her the first time I saw the show. I was indifferent, the next few times around, and then I was like, no, she's okay. She's making some points, and then I just swiveled back around to not liking her again. I think it's just because the way she ditched Michonne. Did she? Didn't she? It's up for debate. But the way she got in with the governor and then kind of turned her back on Michonne, I'm like, her death was super dramatic though. One of my favourite deaths in Walking Dead history. Very fucking sad. I just didn't really like her character a whole lot. That's not even something that changed. That's just, here's someone I don't like. Ah, yeah boy. Into spicy shit. The Jesse storyline with Rick. Why? In capital letters. I agree. Why? I'd forget that even fucking happened. She had a kid be munched on by walkers because he wouldn't shut up. Again, why? I guess to show the brutality of the world or whatever. Her and Rick I'd never fucked with that. I was like, okay, Rick is developing feelings maybe. He's getting some. He's falling in love with someone. And then I was like, no, hang on. This makes no goddamn sense. That should have just not happened, being honest. I think it's just because I'm a die-hard shipper of Rick and Michonne. They're probably one of my favourite TV couples in history. So I'm like, what were they trying to do with Jesse? Come on now. Staying on the topics of relationships. Daryl and Leah. Why? I guess this is kind of a hot take because people liked her for some fucking reason. They introduced her character with a romance plot with Daryl. I feel like if they had kind of introduced her, really given her a few episodes for viewers to get used to her, get to know her, get used to seeing her on screen, get her backstory. But I feel like her story was just tied to Daryl from the second she entered the show. To the point where I'm like, I don't really care about her as an individual character then. Because, you know what I'm saying? You make that association. And then you have the whole, her story and Daryl's story was told through the flashback episode. So I'm like, we don't even really get to see it organically. It was just shoved into one episode. And then you had her... Man, that's still a fucking hazy blur to me. I just remember her and Daryl in a house catching fire. They crawl out the window and Pope is there with his little beanie hat on like, you'll do. To Daryl. So I'm like, what the fuck is this? The fuck is this? Daryl always finds himself being taken into a cult or a dodgy fucking group. I think he just has that face. He just looks like a little lost puppy. And all the evil ones love to pounce on that. But yeah, the Daryl and Leah storyline, I didn't like it. I still don't. I really tried. I was like, okay, just step back for a minute and let it happen. Let's just look at it. Let's just watch and see. Nah, I couldn't fuck with that shit at all. You have him not killing her, letting her go, only to have her fucking die anyway. Her whole story arc took place over the course of one season? Barely. And it sucks too, because she was a good actress. The lady who played her was a really good actress. I just find that storyline kind of bland and just weird. Jesus' death is another thing I would have changed. I just simply would not have killed him. There you go. Loved his character. He had one of the coolest introductions I think ever. Loved him. He was so fun to watch. He had so much more to give the show. Kind of like with Coral. He still felt so new. He still felt so like undiscovered, and he wasn't like fleshed out enough. They didn't give us enough. Jesus. That's a weird sentence. I think they killed him off too early. His death though was so fucking metal. Holy Christ. That graveyard scene, whew! Next point is Negan surviving throat being slit. I still think that shit is dumb as hell. I remember like kind of, again, back and forthing on it and being like, okay, that's actually kind of cool. You've Rick making a point, you've Michonne making a point, you have like everybody getting it. You know what I'm saying? That whole, I could kill you, but I'm going to make you fucking suffer instead. Sit and stew in your misery, cunt bag. And I'm like, I get that. But slitting his throat and then just going, someone save him. Like, that's a pretty serious fucking injury. I'm like, I don't see how he would have survived that. I mean, if he'd hit him into the head with a brick or tripped him and pushed him down a hill, you'd go, well, alright, he's choosing to show mercy. But throat slitting someone is pretty final. So coming back from that, I was like, oh my god, what in the love of fuck? What kind of fucking medical knowledge do these people have that they can fix something like that? So there's that. I am glad that they didn't kill Negan though. Part of me would have thought, my god, imagine if he had killed him. Where would we be now? What would we be doing? What road would have Rick gone down? Would Michonne have gone down? Like, the drama. But I am glad they didn't kill him. He is one of my favourite aspects of the show. I love that he's always finding... You're always finding new, like, sides and tones within Negan's character. I like that a lot. I love that in a character. And I love characters that are just kind of grey. They're morally grey. They've done some bad shit, but they've also done some good stuff, which Negan has. That doesn't undo any of the bad that he did. I'm just saying. So I do like watching a character like that. I'm glad they didn't kill him. But the way that particular situation was handled was just like... How? And just to finish this off, I know there's probably a whole bunch of stuff, but this video idea popped into my head and I wanted to do it. I wanted to chat. I was in a chatty fucking mood. And I thought, let's give some opinions, because I always do try to stay neutral when it comes to things regarding The Walking Dead. And I try to stay away from the negative side of stuff. So I thought, let's do a video that I never would have done before. Because, you know, in this day and age, I'm out of fucks to give. In this day and age. I'm only 26. But to finish the video off on an extra spicy take, this is something that I did love, that I would not change, that everybody else in the fandom would change. My favourite episode is Still. Every time I say that, I get people in the comments jumping on me being like, you're wrong and here's why. And I'm like, okay, but have you considered I don't give a flying fuck? I love that episode. I just don't know why. I have vivid memories of the first time I watched it. I just love that shit. I love it. I love the simplicity. I love the dialogue-driven aspect of that episode. I feel like that's when I really started to give a fuck about Beth. I didn't really fucking care about her before that episode. I think at the time as well, I could just really relate to the fact that she was young, lost, she didn't know what her path was in life, and then she got to the thing that she wanted, which was getting a drink. And then it's like, well, what now? What do I fucking do? My whole reason to get up in the morning the last few days has been about getting this drink, and then I get it. What now? What drives me? I could relate to that at the time. Not the drink aspect, just like, you know, feeling a little bit lost and aimless. And she had lost family members, everything was up in the air for her. But I love that episode. Still to this day, adore it. Would not change a goddamn thing. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought down in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Any points that you would add? Please don't hate on still. It will make me feel sad inside. Like I said at the start of the video, the link to my Patreon is down below, where there's a whole bunch of other content. I cannot wait for The Walking Dead universe to come back to our screens. I'm so pumped. I will be doing reactions to any trailers that come out regarding The Walking Dead, and they'll be going up here on YouTube. The link to my Twitter, Instagram, everything else is down below in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you all soon.